Get ready. Get set. And hold on! It's time for the Mouth of Matuszak show. And it's going to be one heck of a ride. Welcome to Monday morning! You know what that means, folks. And I know some people are going to have a case of the so-called Mondays, having the blues, having to go to work. But what are you working for? Think about it. You're working to make your lives better. Working to get out there and pursue that happiness. Rake in and harvest the fruits of those labors so that you can take the fruits of those labors and enjoy them come the weekend. So without a Monday, you don't have a Saturday or a Sunday. Without a Monday, you don't have a Freedom Friday. Monday is important, folks. You need to embrace that week. Look forward to getting out there and digging in and doing that good work. Because if you don't like the work you're doing, at least turn around and like what doing that work allows you to do when you're not doing that work. You know, you pay your electric bill so you can watch that flickering light box of idiocy we call a television. Or you can buy books for those of you that don't know how to use a library card. Now, that's another thing. You work and you pay taxes, and those taxes go for things like your local libraries, etc. Of course, there's enough to be said about what our taxes are going for, because in some cases they're going for things that we don't necessarily agree with, in which case maybe our taxes are going for the wrong things. But on the local level, libraries and local roads in your public schools, those are things we're paying for, right? Unless you're pulling your kid out of the public schools because they're overrun with corrupt union officials who want to indoctrinate your kids into their way of thinking instead of doing the job that you're paying them for. Because remember, folks, teachers and principals and superintendents of schools are your employees. They might forget that, but you shouldn't. So whenever they talk about being your partner in your kid's education, you tell them to step off and learn their place. They're not your partner, they're your employee. Anyway, I'm not going to sit there and bash into that any further today. I've already beaten that horse into glue and used it to seal up envelopes and put stamps on mailers already. So, without further ado, Monday, we need to get some blood going, get some pump up here. So let's get that kicked off before we give some other special announcements, which will come after this, of course. Let's get pumped up with a little bit of Powered Zombies and Mr. America.
Mr. America, look what you've done.
Yeah.
Looking at the country is not what I intended. Gotta start to make a change before the never-ending story of
Change
the
it.
whole nation runs straight out of luck. Like $1 million Tyler Perry movies. You suck. All your little have life is still selfish. You want more voting in your self-interest now instead of the core principles that made this country both honest and true. Free to speak, worship, pursuit of your happiness too. With all the money you fly, you gon' be needing a big freeze. Hate the size of the Fed like Jesus hated the fig tree. As the spending goes up, you gotta borrow some more. Borrowing from the Chinese like, oh my lord. Instead you just tax more, you're increasing the size of the federal government. Yeah, the Georgia surprise. You'll be done like Detroit, man, no you ain't coming back. Forget it, I'm out, I'm muzzle loading my
Mr. America, look what you've done. You trade your liberty and sovereignty for lies and promises. Mr. America, don't you run away. You pick up pieces up and face the problems, you'll be great again. I got tired of rolling over in my grave every day, making a monarchy of my beloved US of A. You little glitches need reminding of what we were before, and the sits that led us up to revolutionary war. High taxes to the throne without a voice of our own. Rule top down from the crime we wanted left alone. Oh, y'all so soft, you're taking it year after year. We were fighting red coats while we're brewing our beer. Now I'm drinking, spitting ciphers through a grill made of wood. That's how it all went down in G-Dub's neighborhood. Packing capping balls like powder hammers with cock, lock, click, clack. The loss of backs like the attack. The chicken littles who don't know me, listen, don't let it twist. We kick the A's of the B's for much less than this. So don't deny the historical climbing out of the mud. Follow me, believe it's creed, plant the seeds and be free. America, look what you've done. You trade your liberty and sovereignty for lies and promises. Mr. America, don't you run away. You pick up pieces up and face the problems, you'll be great again.
On the woman's at 8-5 when it's really at 12. Him in classes in session, you can't be safe by the bell. What happens when you keep printing more dough? Both parties have gone green like their name was Al Gore. Yeah, but right now you're high. Hey, ain't you big hitter? But now I'm back from the dead. I'm bringing back all my knickers.
What, knickers? No, it's okay. I can say knickers because I wear knickers.
Man, you think I say that? What's wrong with you? I'm just talking about my show back then. I rock with my shoe. But let's go back to the first point I was trying to make. The degradation of our freedoms and a country at stake. The government's getting grand while private sector grows smaller. Pour one out for your homies, cause here comes the cold water. Unemployment still rising, a desk growing still. The only change you're gonna get is being left with the bill.
America, look what you've done.
What you do, what you do.
Trade your liberty and sovereignty for lies and promises. Mr. America, don't you run away. You pick up pieces up and face the problems, you'll be great again. Mr. America, whoa,
Whoa,
Mr. America, whoa,
whoa.
whoa.
Well, there you have it, folks. Got you going for the morning. Just remember, as Andrew Breitbart said, and this applies whichever side of the aisle you kind of claim as your own, whether you're a libertarian or a conservative or a Republican. It still applies, folks. The government only works the way it's supposed to when you use your voice. If you don't stand up and say, hey, I don't like this, this might be a better way, and then start talking to people about it, find out if anybody else agrees with you, and if they do, getting together and talking to those people who are supposed to be representing you and making them vote that way or propose what you would like to see in legislation. Unless you remind those elected officials who they work for, they're going to work for themselves. They're going to work for aggregating their own power and ignoring you. And they're going to work towards tyranny and an oligarchy and a dictatorship instead of for the liberties and freedoms that they allegedly took an oath to support in the Constitution. So that's kind of what that song's all about. Kind of think about that as your work week starts. When you take your little breaks, think about, what can I change? What do you have the authority or the capability or the courage, in some cases, to change around your workplace to make it better, to make it more efficient, to make it more productive, to make yourself a little bit more scratch? What can you change about your own life? Can you educate yourself better, earn some new skills to increase your market value as far as the labor market goes? Or start your own company. There you go. Come up with your own innovation, your own idea, your own invention. What can you do to improve your local community? Go to your town halls and your school board meetings. What can you do to improve things with your congressional district? with your state, and on up and up and up. We can all point fingers and complain about the federal government, and we can complain about things at the local level. But where it really starts is the most localist of levels, with you, in your home, in your household, and then your local neighborhood, and on up and on up. That's the way the left got their bad ideas put into action, starting way back with the Woodrow Wilson days. That led us to today, with many of these social programs we have that are eroding our country's exceptionalism. We don't need the government to put a gun to our head, take part of our paycheck away from us, and decide what charities it's going to go to, and have those charities run by, again, a federal bureaucracy. We can decide to give to cancer on our own. We can decide to give to a local food bank. But it starts at home. It starts with you, and you deciding to speak up, to educate yourself, and to do something. Well, that's about it for the morning little rant here. I do have some things to get the week started off with a little bit of start off on a good note, on a happy note. Don't want to sit here and just talk about there's bad stuff out there and y'all need to do something about it. There's good stuff out there too, folks. And we're going to start with one thing right here. I need to send a quick shout out to a couple of my favorite listeners. My fraternity brother, good old Sigep, and new Phi, Chuck Augustiniak, is celebrating a birthday today. So happy birthday, Chuck. And then, as well as Chuck, of course, somebody who's very near and dear to my heart, who I've known even longer than I've known Chuck, my mother, AnneMarie Matuszak, was born 67 years ago today. Happy birthday, Mom! In addition to that, they share a common date on the calendar for people of certain religious persuasions, and some of these religious festivals have, of course, creeped over into various Christian and Catholic festivals and other cultural celebrations going on now. But today marks the start of what's known as Mabon, M-A-B-O-N, or the Autumnal Equinox, and it's a solstice celebrated by the ancient Druids and other pagans around, especially in Europe. And of course, this is the second and probably the height of harvest festivals. The last one, of course, is called Samhain or Halloween, and that also is the day that the veil is the thinnest, and Day of the Dead and all that stuff. We'll get into that later when we get closer to that day. But for those of you who don't know, I am religious, right? I just happen to be a Druid. Very strict morality that goes with that. So for us, this is a pretty big holy day. It's one of the high days. And among the celebrations that are involved with Mabon and the start of the fall season, so to speak. Well, it is a start. You know, when the leaves start to change, etc. It's a big time for apple harvesting and other fruits. So apples and the colors of leaves all join as part of the celebrations. So there's going to be a lot of apple fests starting up around, especially in the northern states. So those of you who are up in like Michigan and Illinois and those other portions of Canada, Michigan, Wisconsin, and of course the home of the Granny Smith, good old Washington State. Go ahead and look for your apple festivals and enjoy those. And for those of you who are gluten-free but still like something that resembles beer, remember, hard cider is gluten-free. That's about what I can enjoy. So my family has learned to love that. And speaking of the other type of imbibement, beer, this is when Oktoberfest starts traditionally. Oktoberfest is not normally in October. It normally ends in October. It starts about now, folks. So I don't know exactly what's going on in Munich. I'm not living in Germany anymore, but I'm sure it's scheduled to start soon. But this is about the season. So those kind of those festivals originate in ancient pagan ways and continue today. So if you enjoy festivals like that, thank a Druid. There you go, folks. A lot of happy stuff happening today. Other stuff to talk about, though, that's kind of on a good note. I've never seen the show Duck Dynasty. Never watched it. I'm not a big television fan to begin with, and when it comes to reality TV, I find it not entertaining. If I want to watch people doing dumb things, all I have to do is walk out on my front porch and sit there and watch my neighbors. And really, that's all any of us need to do. And guess what? When you do that, they can also turn around and call the cops on you for being creepy. So consider that too. So I consider reality TV just the same kind of creepy voyeurism, invasion of privacy, even though the people are being paid large amounts for it. But Duck Dynasty, I know, is a favorite, especially of a lot of people on the right side of the aisle, and people that have a little bit more of a moral religious grounding, and they enjoy the show. So that's why it's there, and that's why it does so well. So enjoy it. I'm not saying not to. I'm just saying for me, it's not a big thing. But anyway, Dancing with the Stars, another one of those reality contest type shows, which on occasion I've caught a clip here and there of, and I love to watch ballroom dancing. I think it's amazing. I wish I could dance that well. But speaking of Duck Dynasty and Dancing with the Stars, Sadie Robertson, the 17-year-old star of the show, or one of the stars of the show, is competing on Dancing with the Stars, and she made her inaugural dance. She was doing the cha-cha. And folks, you have to see it. There's no way to play a clip of this thing on the radio because all you hear is some music going and then a couple of judges talking about the performance. But go on over to, it's over at CNS News has it. And if you look at the program notes of the show, it'll be posted for there later on. But I know somebody at BuzzPo was talking about doing their write-up of it. So look for that later today. It should pop up over on BuzzPo as well. Or you can just go on YouTube and do a search for Sadie Robertson Dancing with the Stars. I'm sure you can find the clip there. But this little girl did an amazing job, and this is her first attempt at ballroom dancing ever, allegedly, supposedly. Now, you know she made it on Dancing with Stars somehow, so there you go. But worth watching. Other entertainment news, though, folks. Let's get into something a little bit more newsy, a little bit more relevant, a little bit more, what's the word for it? We'll look at politics, and this is something that actually is going to kind of shape the future of Texas. And if, for those of you who have looked at the economy over the past 6 years or so, Texas has pretty much led the nation in economic development. Texas has gone the nation in a minor amount in proportion to Texas's gains. In fact, Texas normally, when you have your monthly jobs created, anywhere from 1/10 to half, and anywhere in that range, is created in Texas. Now, 1/10. There's 50 states, folks. That means Texas is doing the job of 5 states. Now, somebody could sit there and say, well, Texas is the size of 5 states. There's a lot of rural areas in Texas where pretty much nobody lives. So there ain't much job creation going on in the middle of a farm unless you're talking about, Bossy, Betsy, and Daisy, popping out a couple of new calves. So, and that doesn't count as human job creation. So Texas has been leading with that as well as other economic growth, and it's not all in the energy industry, unlike up in the Dakotas. The state has been leading in technological development. Today, SpaceX is breaking ground on the new spaceport, private commercial spaceport, for sending spaceships out into space and to the space station and to the moon eventually, and out into orbit. First privately owned one in the world is being built right here in Brownsville, Texas. They break ground today. So that's not exactly energy industry. It's not exactly drilling for oil or natural gas, is it? Didn't think so. And then medical, a lot of medical stuff coming on down here, as well as, like I said,